This weekend should have been probably the biggest gathering of barflies, of whisky folk from this channel that there's ever been. We were all supposed to be hanging out together at the Limburg Whisky Festival, but we realise that that can't happen. So what we have to do is get together now and make the most of it. Hello, whisky folk. Hello. Welcome to a Sunday night extended hours opening of the vPub. And of course, what we're doing tonight is, don't worry, I'm not going to be all kind of depressed and in a mopey mood. And I'm a wee bit sad because this weekend was going to be a festival weekend. It was one of the biggest festival weekends of the year. And maybe for the Aquavitae Barflies, for folk from this channel, from a community that's built inside this channel, it was going to be one of the biggest opportunities for us to be able to get together over in Limburg. Obviously, that can't happen. So I've invited some of those folk to join me tonight to participate in the challenges and things tonight and the quiz. But I think we're all feeling like we would have much preferred to be together at the festival. But these things are not cancelled, as I keep saying. It's just been postponed a little bit. We just need to be patient. And I think we'll enjoy it all the more when we do eventually get together. In the meantime, we're fortunate that we still have this fantastic platform, all of these various ways to get together over vast distances through technology. So I'd like to welcome everybody tonight for another kind of more laid back, more relaxed version of the vPub. No themes, no structure, no presentations, no guests. Well, apart from my fellow barflies who are waiting in the background for a little while. Just to hang out with you guys. So if you're looking to get hold of my attention, you know what to do, right at Aquavitae, and I will try to give you a wee shout out or pick up any questions that you'd like, and we'll try and have a wee bit more of an interactive session tonight. I hope you're all well. I am well. I'm a wee bit tired. There was a Zoom event that we had last night. The people that were all going to be in Limburg kind of jumped on a Zoom together, and I dropped in for. I was only going to drop in for a dram or two, and ended up staying a wee bit longer. I was having such fun hanging out with them. But it's great to see you all. Who do we have in tonight? We have Rico. Rico's in here as well. Rico, I'm looking forward to getting together and raising a glass with you at some point in the future, my friend. It will happen. Ben Demon Hunter is here. Good to see you. Tabitha Adams, good to have you. Mikey Hay, part of the London Whisky Club. Looking forward to seeing you over the course of the next year or so, Mikey. I hope that can happen too. You and I have had a chance to hang out in the past, and it's been great fun. Espen is in the chat as well. Good to see you, Espen. He sent evening, Roy. Andy C is here. Andy Calderwood, good to have you. Andy, Daniel Vermaas, wonderful, Daniel. Jimmy Legg, of course. Always great to see Jimmy Legg and his wee bottle of Springbank 12 in as well. Dancing Midgie, Glenn is here. Good to have you, Glenn. I hope you're keeping well. Mark Goins is here. Zach Andrews from the States. Both of you from the States. Wonderful stuff. Kresimir is here. Vohi, what are you guys having tonight? Lechik 10 here. Looks like a new name, Vohi. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Lechik 10 is one of my favourites. I seem to get through an awful lot of it here in the UK. It's very good value as well. I really love the stuff. Russell Whiskey's here. Good to have you, Russell. Our baggy Andy is here. Billy Saunders is here. Gregor McQueen is here. Wait, you're not too early yet, Gregor. And I predict that looks like a good score for tonight's quiz. There is a quiz at the end, of course, for anyone that wants to stay till the end. And I think it's an easy one tonight. Simon Ray's here. Good to have you, Simon. Part of the Nottingham Whisky Academy. Good to have the Nottingham Whisky Association. Good to have you in, Simon, and good to have your participation in the vPub last time around. Gixer Skipper Luke is here. Alistair Gray, Paul Gibbs, Whiskey Geek Ben. So good to see you. He's telling everybody that he's been stretched thin. Illnesses through December to February. The new job and the little one. The whole. On the whole, we're doing good though. Ben and I have kept in touch just over direct message and things like that. I've been reaching out to Ben. It's great, Ben, to have you in a vPub tonight. Maybe we can have you on participating in this new challenge that we've got going on, Ben. Let me know if you enjoy it tonight. My moderators tonight are Steve A, it looks like, and Gregor McQuee, as well as Alistair Gray. I don't know if the Doc's going to be in tonight. He was on with us last night, and it was ended up being quite a late night. So we might lose a couple of the regular barflies due to the weekend that we've had. Island Hopper Stuart is here, John Della Cuisine, Peated, Lindsay Holman, Mr. Ed, Scott, Kilted Moose, Neil Cochran from Glasgow, Greg Boers, Whiskey Mystery, Phil as well. I guess you guys were alive tonight. I was kind of late. I was helping put the kids to bed, and I didn't get a chance to see any of the activity that was going beforehand. But Whiskey Mystery, that's Phil and Deepa. They've been doing some blind challenges ahead of these scheduled vPubs. Welcome, everybody. I've got a community dram. I've got the sample box next to me, and I'm sipping a Springbank Rumwood tonight. This is from Tom, Spirit Works Tom. Tom Lindsay's probably in tonight. Springbank 15 Rumwood from 2019. So as it's last year's release, 51%. It's Springbank. It's always going to be really, really good. But I was just saying that I remember I wasn't upset about missing out on this one. Despite lots and lots of people loving this and really connecting with it, I found it to be a really nice whiskey. But I think I would be tempted to buy other Springbanks for the same money, just because of the profile of it. It's very sweet for a Springbank. But of course, as normal with these things, each sip by sip, is getting better and better. Your 51%, you could probably do with a wee drop of water in there as well, just to see how it goes. I mentioned on Thursday's vPub, for anybody that joined in, that the announcement for the next Lockdown Whisky Festival has gone ahead. That came out on Friday. I gave a bit of teaser of the next Lockdown Festival. It's happening on the 9th of May, a Saturday, just less than 2 weeks away. I'll be hosting it again. It's going to be exact same format as previously. It's spearheaded by the guys at Tomatin, and they've reached out in collaboration to a number of fantastic brands that include Blanton's, Isle of Rassay Distillery. It includes Ian MacLeod Distillers, who are bringing along Glengoyne and Tamdhu. There are others. Old Pulteney are joining as well, fantastic, as well as Douglas Lane and McMeera. So already fantastic brands that I'm sure are going to be willing to share some great whiskies with us and have a bit of interactive chat on the day. And I think the guys at Tomatin have been discussing ways that they can add in another couple of little elements as well to kind of break the flow up and just kind of learn as they go along and try and refine the format. So I'm hoping that you'll be looking forward to that. The way that you would connect with that festival is to subscribe to the Tomatin channel. I'm sure you have already. The last Lockdown Whisky Festival was an amazing success. It was very, very well attended. But if you subscribe to the Tomatin channel, click the notification bell and it'll remind you just before they go live. But it won't be on this channel. Everything is going to be across there. So how are you all doing? I am realizing that there is a lot of content out there. A lot of content. I have to say I'm part of the problem. I've gone from 2 vPubs a month to 2 a week. Now, I did this out of thoughtfulness, honestly, with my best intentions, because I knew way back when the lockdown started, I knew that people were going to be at home and they would be kind of going to be a bit stir crazy looking for things to do. So I stepped up. These Sunday night sessions are not charged to patrons. These are free sessions. This extended opening is just really to offer more kind of pockets of time for community and people to get together on a Sunday evening. And Thursday vPubs, I've tried to keep the quality up. I've tried to keep the themes up. I've tried to come up with original themes and ideas that people might find interesting. I'm still taking ideas from the community. There's some fantastic suggestions coming in about people that they would like to see invited onto the vPub and about topics that they would like to see discussed. Actually, I'm really amazed how interested people are in barley strains. I always felt that barley strains would be ever so slightly just too towards the jagged edge of the kind of geek spectrum. I always thought that barley strains would be a stretch too far. But a couple of weeks ago, we had Michael Henry on here, and that's his geekiest. That's about the geekiest that the vPub has ever ventured, talking about different distillation methods and different mash bills and different the production methods at Loch Lomond and things. And a lot of the discussion ended up going towards barley. And everybody seemed very comfortable to listen or get engaged with what I would consider more geeky topics. I'm looking for orange, but I'm not actually seeing any orange tonight. It may be that I am signed in under a different account. I think that's exactly what's going on. So in order to fix that, I'm going to switch account real quick. This is what happens when you let your son use your YouTube account. That way I can see the reassuring orange in the chat, and it helps me pick out when you guys are trying to get my attention. There we go. Everything is nice and orange now. Luna's saying yeast strains might be interesting as well. Yeah, I would say that's even more geeky than barley, Luna, wouldn't you think? Different yeast strains. But I have to agree with you, because you might remember in the Michael Henry vPub that we did, he came on from Loch Lomond and he gave me a sample of a wine yeast Loch Lomond. And it could be the fruitiest, it's certainly the fruitiest Loch Lomond, but it could be one of the fruitiest whiskies I've ever enjoyed. I was really, really surprised. And I'm very, very hopeful that Loch Lomond, it may just be a small run. It might be extremely limited edition, of course, but it would be really nice if everybody could experience what I experienced with that whiskey. It was quite marvelous. Scott Clark is saying never. Too geeky. The Whiskey Jury saying, question, do you know why peat disappears during maturation? Young Islay is much peatier than old. I would have to say I agree with you, Whiskey Jury, completely. I'm not sure that is a new name. I think I might have given you a shout out before. If I haven't, I'll welcome you in again. Anyway, it's nice to have you here. The science behind it, I'm really not sure of, but we all know that maturation in an oak cask of a peated whiskey, the peat kind of it becomes far more soft and far more integrated over time, to the point that when it gets to 20, 25 years and beyond, sometimes, you know, you could struggle to pick it out as an Islay. Not always. Sometimes the peat holds together quite well. But I would say I absolutely agree. Interesting examples would be Kalila 25. Very soft example of Kalila, and the newer release from Ardbeg, the Ardbeg Trevan. Compare it to any of the other Ardbegs, Corryvreckan Ugadal, or even the standard 10-year-old. Side by side, it's quite amazing to detect how much the peat has stepped into the background. It's still there, but it does get softer. The science behind it, I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody like a Michael Henry would be able to answer that. Aaron Hardiman is here saying barley strains would be great. Wow, interesting stuff. Billman Teeth, you star, he's bought me a virtual dram and he's saying, thanks to this channel, I've doubled my collection and tripled my debt. Bill, I understand what you're saying. I know that you're probably quite pleased to have that whiskey there, but it's nice that you're at least aware of your spending. It is a real thing. We've got to be careful. Don't chase the bottles. The whiskey all comes in time. We don't need to chase it. It will come to us. But I understand it's tempting and it's difficult to manage at times. I hope you're enjoying it despite it, Bill. And thank you very much for adding to that debt by buying me a virtual dram, my friend. Cheers, Bill. Scott Clark is saying King's Barnes would be interesting to look at the topic of yeast strains. Absolutely. I think a good Waterford would be fantastic to talk about barley. It seems obvious. Maybe Brookladdy, you know, maybe one of those producers. But Waterford, they've gone so heavy in on studying what yeast is able to do, what barley strains are able to do to the individual distillate, that it might be nice to reach out to somebody like Waterford to talk about barley. For yeast strains, King's Barnes is an interesting one. There's a few out there, actually, that would be interesting to talk about on yeast strains. Eric Evanson is saying, and thank you again for the sample of that wine yeast whiskey. I'm sure you don't have it yet, Eric. It only went out on, I think, Thursday morning yours went out. So it's probably, hopefully it'll arrive with you a wee bit later this week, my friend. Marcus is saying, maybe a grain whiskey themed vPub. Yeah. I don't have much grain on hand, if I'm honest, Marcus. I mean, I can get it. I can get hold of it. And I've probably got quite a few samples in the community box here. Russell Whiskey is saying Four Roses are masters of using different yeast strains. Wow, that's interesting to hear. Thanks, Russell. Lee J. Brown is saying Whiskey Novice sounds interesting. So he's talking to Jim Ingram, Whiskey Novice. Shiv Josie is in the chat. Good to see you, Shiv. Gregor is saying sweet spot of peat aging. For me, 10, 12-ish. If you're, listen, all Islay whiskies, all heavily peated whiskies, I would say, do deliver what you enjoy in them at a young age. They do seem to do quite well. Not all, most of them is a very general thing. I love peat. I like a peat hit. When you're over in Islay and you're having these sometimes 6, 7, 8-year-old cask samples and the warehouse tastings and things, they're amazing to taste. They're wonderful, and they are big, powerful peaty hits. But if I'm sitting here alone, if I'm pouring something in company, and even when I pour a peaty whiskey, I would like the whiskey to have other things to offer than just that kind of peat smash. So for me, somebody mentioned Lechik 10 already in the chat. I think that's a fantastic whiskey. And even though it's very smoky, very peaty, I think there's a lot of balance there, and there's a lot of richness to it. There's a lot of flavors and body and experience beyond just that peat hit. So that's a 10-year-old. My favorite Ardbeg, I'm on record, it's Ardbeg 10, Kalila 12, Lagavulin 12, fantastic whiskey. So it seems to be something of that order for me. But it's very general, very sweeping generalisation, Gregor. Helen is here, Hellswood, she's saying, just discovering grain, so would like that subject to broaden my horizons. Interesting. Eric Waits in from California, good to have you, Eric, my friend. My theory is angels are heavy smokers, so over time they inhale more of the peat smoke. That's a fabulous thought, a fabulous way to consider it. Angels are heavy smokers, and not only are they taking our whiskey, but they're taking the smoke out of it as well. Jimmy Legg is saying, have you had a good peaty whiskey beyond 16 years? By good peaty, I mean peaty. That would be a hard one to answer, Jimmy. I don't think so. I can't think of one right now. That's an interesting question. James Hope is saying, he's just dropping in and he's saying hello and evening to everybody. James, it's excellent to have you in again. Nice to welcome you in on a vPub, James. Always nice to have you here. David Owen is saying, I think that Four Roses use 5 different yeast strains. I know nothing about that, but it is interesting. Alistair Gray is saying, Roy, have you managed to try the new festival bottling from Glen Scotia? No, I have not. If you get any intelligence, I would love to hear about it, Alistair. Donner Pass Whiskey is saying, a silver lining to all this is that I'll be at Waterford next year when they will have whiskey available. Looking forward to being there in 2021. Tim, I know that you've had to postpone all your plans, but we have to focus on the silver linings to some of these things. And it will mean that there's going to be more mature whiskey at Waterford. That's one right away. Fraser Bell is in. He's saying, hi, Aquavita and Barflies. What do you think Octomore? Why do you think Octomore works so well at 5 to 6 years? Octomore is produced very much to go out at 5 or 6 years in the majority of times. The casks that's selected for that to go into will be nice active casks. It'll be a very, very deliberate thing. And that is the thing there. People are going after Octomore for that kind of extreme style of peaty Bruichladdich. And they get it most of the time. I'm often surprised, even at 5 years old, how soft Octomore can be, even at its high ABV, even that it's supposed to be really, really peated. It can often play much softer than you imagine. Aye, laddie, Whiskey Nerd, that's Rombout from the Netherlands. He's in and he's saying, I'm doing well, good to have you, my friend. Skogsmard is here, great to have you, Skogsmard. Have you had the Ardbeg Wee Beastie? No, I'm looking for it. Is it available online yet? I'm desperate to get my hands on that. I might just go and get it. I'm eagerly waiting its release, he says, in my local market. Don't think it's released in the UK yet. I think it was early May, if I remember right. Peathead is saying, I agree on the Peathead Extra. Should I change my alias name? No need, no need. Peter Wilcox is saying, Lagavulin 8 for me. I agree. I'm on record as well as sharing how much I enjoy that dram as well. I think it's amazing. And Hellswood is saying Aquavita has your sweet spot slipped a few notches. No, my sweet spot is still very much round about that 15 to 18-year-old mark. Very interesting, and I was hoping to get into the comments. I was hoping to reply to a lot of the people in the comments on that last video, that vPub that we talked about that, because there were so many of them in saying the same thing. And I don't even know when they'd commented if they'd got as far in the video to hear that that was my sweet spot or not. But I think there is a consensus. The majority seem to feel, all other things aside, sweeping generalizations, of course, that seems to work quite well as a sweet spot. People seem to be enjoying. Carol Van Wallingham is in saying, in Leipzig 18, the peat is still dominant in comparison to other 18-year-old peated whiskies. Interesting, Carol. Yeah, it would be nice to maybe try that. So what would you try it alongside? Maybe Isla 18, a Kalila 18. Kalila 18 is still a pretty peaty prospect. Not heavy. What else do we have? Lagavulin 16, I guess. Lafroig 18, still very peaty, I would say. Shane is saying he agrees about Octomore. He's not a big peat guy, but he loves Octomore. Very strange. Because there's lots of fruit and there's lots of different cask influence that they're going for there. They're very experimental with the casks. There might be other things to get your attention more than just peat. Jim Ingram, Whiskey Novice is saying, totally agree with you that Leipzig 10, call it a peat sleeper, starts quite gentle, then really revs up with time. I'm always amazed at how much Leipzig 10 I get through in the house. You've seen me throw 2 or maybe 3 bottles away in recycled reviews, not even kind of talk about it, not even review it each time, but just kind of have another empty. And I've got another empty on hand right now. It's very enjoyable whiskey, honestly, and good value. Zen Buddha's in, good to have you, my friend. You always have a warm, welcoming demeanour in your vPubs. Thank you so much. They are a comfortable way to pass an evening and often very informative. That's very nice of you to say thank you, because it's difficult for me. And I had my guests on for a little tech check just a few minutes before we went live tonight. And I said to them that I'm always a wee bit more on edge before I go live when I don't have a topic. When I don't have a structure, I'm not really sure what I'm going to say. But I've realised to trust that I'm not going to run out of things to say. And if I do, I've got 244 of you in at the chat right now to help me out and feed me. Shay Francis is here. Good to see you. Robbie's Rams has the Glen Scotia Festival release online. Sent you a link to it. Thank you, Shay. Tell me, what is it? What is the Glen Scotia Festival release this year? I remember the Portwood was a cracker from a guy who doesn't really like Portwood whiskey. Skogsmard is saying, your thoughts on Auchentoshan 12. Got to try a tram recently, and I might just have found a new non-peated whiskey, not the qualifier. If you're enjoying Auchentoshan 12, I really, really enjoy it. It's affordable. It's widely available everywhere. For me, Auchentoshan can often be very oaky sweet. So if you're drinking it as a starter dram, or if you're having it in isolation, you're going to enjoy it and love it just fine and have some wonderful moments with it. You just need to be careful, to my palate, where you would put it in a lineup, because you don't want to come off something that's much brighter, cleaner, and end up in that really soft, sweet. And I think it's low ABV as well. For me in this market anyway, I think it's out there at 40% as well. But it's a good whiskey. It's available everywhere. You know, see if you ever hear me kind of beating up a whiskey or bashing a whiskey, always remember that to the context. It's very, very difficult to discover Scotch whiskies that are so bad that you can't enjoy them, honestly. I talk regularly even about cheap blends and the ability to be able to, in certain contexts and environments, easily enjoy cheap blends, such as the regulation around Scotch whisky that, you know, I think it's difficult to make it unenjoyably bad. So when you hear me being a bit dismissive about some whiskies, always remember the context that Scotch whisky tends to be of a very, very high baseline standard. I know a lot of people might disagree about that, but I actually have found that to be the case. It's very good. So when you talk about something that's not as good as something else, I'm not talking about bad whiskey. I'm probably talking about something that just isn't as good as it could be, or isn't as good as something else that I'm comparing it to. So context is always important. Fraser, I'll ignore your comment. That was between you and I. Whiskey Novice is saying, yep, after all our talk, having finished Berry Brothers and Rudd Peated one, I'm off for a Leipzig 10. And there are lots of others in here, it would seem. It's excellent stuff and it's great value. Chris Malloy is in as well. Chris, wonderful to welcome you in here. And it's nice to welcome you inside Patreon as well as a recent supporter to me. You've been around in the YouTube scene from way back before I created any content. I knew your name and I would see you making comments on other channels, Scotch Test Dummies and things. And it's nice to have you in here, my friend. Sláinte to you. Chris is tuning in from New York. Multi-mission Menno, crappy whiskey is becoming rare. Other spirits, on the other hand. Yeah, I don't explore other spirits as much as I should, perhaps, because there's so much whiskey, right? Russell is saying, how about a vPub about blends from independent bottlers? I mean, blends is one of the topics on the vPub list that gets bumped. It's constantly getting bumped. A few reasons for that. You know, the blends I have on hand that are open. I mean, I've got older blends, antique blends and things, but I tend not to have a lot of blends. I've usually got Johnnie Walker Black open. I've usually got Johnnie Walker Red kicking around. I've just finished that Cato's blend, the Inverhouse blend from Cato's. It's a great blend. So it would be nice, but the range of blends that you would want to have a much wider range than the kind of cheaper blends. You would want to really showcase what blending is. If you think about it rationally, a blended whiskey should be the pinnacle. It should be the absolute best whiskey you can buy should be a blend. Think about it. You take all of these elements from the best that malt whiskey has to offer, and you put it in the hands of a blending magician, somebody that's really creative, somebody that's really, really good at their job, and they're able to put together something that's greater than the sum of its parts. I don't explore enough blends, and it's something that I want to change. And if I find success, and if I happen upon blends that's really bringing it, especially, I mean, blended whiskey in general, so blends that have grain in there, or blended malts, or blended grains even, I'll share it with you. I'd be very interested to help everyone engage a wee bit more with blends. Scogsmart is saying, the only whiskey I've found so far which I cannot stand is the modern JW Red. Everything else can at least be drunk over ice. You've clearly not heard my story, Scogsmart, about modern Johnnie Walker Red. Eric Evanson, excuse me, is saying, I do hear you rave about Compass Box now and again. I think Compass Box are they're able to cash in now on the brand that they've been building over the last 20 years. Can be quite pricey, and you can see some common themes in the building blocks that they use, but they always put together a beautifully crafted product in terms of presentation and the whiskey inside. I think that their standard blends, the artists, so that's the Great King Street Artist Blend, Glasgow Blend, whatever it may be, I think those are fantastic quality whiskies. I think that's blends that's targeted towards a different audience than JW Red or J&B or Dewar's White Label, whatever it may be. And you taste those in contrast with something else, you can taste the higher quality. But of course, you're paying a bit more for them as well. If you're talking about Compass Box blended malts, you know, there's nothing to talk about. I've never tasted anything from Compass Box that hasn't left me impressed, honestly. It's a very well put together product. So there is less risk paying that higher price tag, honestly, because it is very, very good. Any good Islay blends? Black Bottle. Black Bottle has been up and down over time. I haven't had any Black Bottle very, very recently. But I did a few years ago. Black Bottle was, it was promoted heavily by Burn Stewart. And they were putting together a very decent blend. And folk that do like Black Bottle, if that's their brand, they won't have anybody say anything bad about it. They do seem to really love it. Green Phaser is saying, Compass Box Spice Tree is affordable and very tasty. Absolutely. Part of the regular core range is Spice Tree. It's not that expensive, and it tends to be very, very good. I would recommend Spice Tree all day long, honestly. Good presentation as well. Hellswood is saying, Eric Evanson, love the scallywag and timorous expressions. Yeah, the remarkable regional malts from Douglas Lane. I opened that 18-year-old timorous beastie recently, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a fantastic whiskey. So yeah, there's the ability to take that blended category and really be true to it, make it what it actually could be capable of being. And a lot of it might be that we just haven't given it the time, because it's easy to fall into the rut of being a malt snob. And I have to hold my hand up there. Malt is a passion for me. But I want to be aware that there's probably some amazing experience out there to be had in blends. Zach Andrews bought me a dram and said, Roy, I have a friend going you today. He is very new to the chat. Can we welcome Sub Hamoy to the Aquavite family? Sub Hamoy, absolutely. There he is there. Sub Hamoy, Chakraboti Roy. I know you kind of a Kilkerran fan, absolutely. Wondering how you felt about Kilkerran, heavily peated one. We have to remember that that's about 4 or so years old. I think for its age, and I know it's limited edition. It's not going to be available forever, but there's plenty of it out there at a very, very good price. If you want a different take on a heavily peated, delicious whiskey, it's difficult to argue where else you would put your money. I think it's absolutely fabulous. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name somewhere close to how it should be pronounced. Sub Hamoy. Zach, thank you very much for the virtual drama, friend. Zach in Texas. Slanchaba. I think you're in Houston, Zach. Okay, listen, what time is it? It's 1:15 already. I've been on for half an hour, banging my gums, but I've got people in the background. I noticed that one of them has dropped out, might be having some technical difficulties there, but that's no problem. Hopefully, they'll be able to drop back in again. See if we've got any messages telling me that there's any trouble here. No, we should be okay. I think we'll go ahead and try anyway. So recently we've been trying to add a little bit of energy and fun into the vPubs, even on Sunday nights. And what we've been trying to do is bring a bit of a game show element into it, but not a kind of long, lengthy, drawn out thing. Try and keep it punchy. And it's based on a thing that we do when we buy each other drinks in the pub. We buy the drams blind, and then we play a little guessing game to see who can guess the dram in our hands. Okay, it's got to be a malt, has to be something that's recognisable, part of the core range, something that we can decipher and work out what it could be. So let's bring in the first of our guests. This guy's from Austria. He's been a long-term supporter of this channel. I've only ever managed to meet this guy virtually in recent times. He's usually alongside his partner Christina, but tonight he's there himself. And I was going to be hanging out with Marcus in Limburg this weekend, but instead I've got him here to say welcome, Marcus Kreitner.
Hi everybody.
So good to see you, my friend. You've been watching and participating in vPubs for a long time, Marcus. Now it must be a year, 2 years.
Oh, I think it's almost 2 years now.
Yes, wonderful to have you here and be able to put a face to the name for everybody watching as well. Are you ready to play tonight? We have a name. I should announce that we actually have a name for this now. It seems that we put a poll out on Patreon because I was struggling to come up with a name. Blind in 10 just was not doing it for me, so I had to come up with something else. And I put a poll out with all the most popular suggestions that the community had put forward. And my favourite was not chosen. I'm not even going to say what my favourite was because it doesn't matter now, but the clear favourite with almost half of the votes, in the end 112 people voted and 46% have voted for What's My Dram. What's My Dram? Very direct, very simple, very straightforward, easy one to use. So Marcus, are you ready to play a wee game of What's My Dram? You are. Are you asking or are you answering this evening?
I'm answering this evening.
Okay, so you've got a malt whiskey on hand and I have to try and decipher in 10. Okay, let's give it a go, my friend. Let's see how this works. With that, or it doesn't work. Let's go back to where we were. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's become a bit of a joke that I always start with the same thing. So let's do it tonight. Marcus, is it a Speyside?
I have to answer yes this time.
It's a Speyside. I think, is this the first Speyside we've actually had?
I think it is, yes.
Next one, is it a Glen?
No.
It's not a Glen. Does it have an age statement?
Yes.
Is it younger than 18 years old?
Yes.
Is it 46% ABV?
Nope.
Or lower?
Yes.
And it has an age statement. And it's younger than 18 years. It's not a Glen. So there's still a lot of distilleries out there. Still a lot. Would you, this isn't a question, I'm just, before I go down this route, would you know the locality within Speyside? What town it would be near or whatever? Or
approximately, yeah.
Approximately, okay. Is it around the neighbourhood of Craigellachie? I can
That I will
change it
be
if you're not sure.
not sure.
Okay. Okay. Is it from one of the big three blending companies, being Diageo, Pernod Ricard, or Edrington?
Yes.
It is. Is it from Diageo?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a Glen, it's a Speyside from Diageo. And it's not a Glen. Is it 12 years old?
No.
Oh no, I thought it was going to be a Cragganmore there. Glen Elgin's 12 years old as well. What else can it be? Is it 12 years? Is it older than 12 years old?
Yes.
15 years old. Glen Elgin isn't. Glen Elgin's older. I've not set the timer tonight. Is it Glen Elgin?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm on my Harley. This is the last chance I've got. Okay. Diageo. Nakandu.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Okay, I lose. Put me out my misery.
It's something you, I think, usually like. Mortlach
Mortlach.
16.
The new Mortlach 16.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wasn't even close. Dufftown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even close. That was a huge fail, and I didn't even set the timer. And it feels like through my pain, it feels like I was at it for longer than 3 minutes. Let's set the 3-minute timer. Oh, Marcus, you caught me there. So that means the forfeit for me is that I need to send a dram. If it's somebody I know that I can get a dram to legally, I can send a dram or perhaps a coin to whoever, the first person in the chat that answered Mortlach 16. My moderators are very, very good. Well done, Marcus. You've beaten me tonight. I didn't have the inspiration to track down a Mortlach at all. Well done, my friend.
You should. It's really fun.
1 to the Limburg 4. Well done. And thanks for participating, and I'll speak to you soon. Hang around until the end, won't you?
Will do.
Cheers, Marcus. Thank you. Absolutely gutted. Let's bring in another guy. Let's go up to Norway now to bring in Service Elafis. He's been supporting the channel for a long time now. I did get to hang out with Andreas before he came over to see us in Scotland, actually. But it'd be fantastic to welcome it inside the vPub. Andreas, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, good to see you too.
And it's nice to see you're wearing a barfly shirt as well. Very good.
Oh, that's it.
Flying the colours. Wonderful.
I'll do that.
Welcome to the vPub, my friend. And are you ready to play a wee game of What's My Dram?
I think so, yeah.
Are you
Give it a
asking
go.
or are you answering?
I think I'll try asking.
Oh, you brave man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you
You
so
wanna-
much. It gives
Oh,
lets me off the hook a little bit. I've got a bottle of whiskey here. I don't want it to come into shot. I'll just put it over there at a shot. It's the only bottle on my desk right now, so I can't change my mind.
Mm.
And I'm going to say good luck, Andreas. And I'm not going to say anything. Let's just see how we got on with it.
I think I need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start the timer now.
Start with the usual. Is it a Speyside?
No.
Is it Highlands?
Yes.
Is it mainland?
No.
Ooh, so it's an island. So would that be Isle of Mull or North?
Yes.
So would that
Good
be perhaps would it be Isle of Mull?
See that again?
Isle of Mull?
No.
Isle of Skye?
No.
Orkneys?
Yes.
Okay. Is it, quite narrows it down a bit.
2 minutes left. Plenty time, Andreas. Plenty
Yeah.
time.
So, I can just say, is it a Scapa?
No.
Okay, so Highland Park then.
Yep.
So, you made it a bit difficult. Highland Park has a shit ton. Okay, has it an age statement?
Yes.
I haven't had any Highland Parks in a long time. Is it Highland Park 10?
No. One more question.
Yeah. Okay, Highland Park 12.
Snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
Ah, nice. You made
Well
it a bit. You made it a bit easy, but
well
thank
done.
you, thank you.
It's not my job. It's not my job to make these things tricky. But
That's good.
if I start to feel wounded, if I start to be sending out packages to everyone every night, then I might change. So there you go. Anybody that's in the chat that answered Highland Park 12, whoever answered it first, I either owe you a dram or a coin. Well done. It's 2 to the Limburg 4, Aqua Vitae 0. Fantastic, my friend. And let me say, it's a huge, it's very, very brave to ask. So thank you for stepping up. And I hope you hang around to the end, Andreas.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers.
Slant it. Good stuff. Well done, Andreas. Well done. And now we go on to, I've known this guy for a long, long time. We've met in Glasgow many times. We've met in Germany as well. He's over in Belgium. He's a fantastic guy, and you all know him as Error McFault.
Hello, Roy. Hello, barflies. Good evening.
It's wonderful to see you, Error. Always a pleasure to see your face. It's
Likewise.
Nice to welcome you onto a vPub. This is the first time.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
It is
and it feels like home.
Yes, well, you've been around here since about the start, I would have to say.
Yeah.
You've been around here for a long time, my friend, and it's great to have you behind the bar. Are you ready to play a wee game of What's My Dram?
Why not?
Are you asking or are you answering, my friend?
Well, I'd probably make a fool of myself either way, so I go for stabbing in the dark. I will ask.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to grab another bottle here then. I'm going to pop it there just out of sight. And I'm going to start the timer at 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes, my friend. Good luck.
Okay, thank you. Is it 46% or higher?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Has it got an age statement?
Yes.
Is it peated?
No.
Not peated. Is it Speyside?
No.
Is it Highlands?
Yes.
Is it Northern Highlands?
No.
Southern Highlands then. Is it an island?
Yes.
Not peated, an island. Aaron 18.
Oh, just going for it. No. You went for a sniper shot.
Yeah.
And you missed.
Yeah. It's not Aaron. Is it Isla?
No.
Okay, so it's not Aaron. It's not Isla.
Okay.
It's not peated.
You might want to. One of the statements you just said is wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it Aaron?
Yes.
Okay. Payback time.
You've got 1 minute and 9 seconds left. Plenty time.
Yeah, so it's the 14. Around 14.
Oh, it's the 10.
Well, I was close enough.
It's the new Aaron 10. I do have some Aaron 14 on hand, the discontinued 14, but I wouldn't have picked it because of its discontinued state.
Yeah, okay. Should have known.
So well done to you. But when you said to me, you said, "Is it Aaron 18?" And I said, "No, it's not Aaron 18." But you discounted all of the other Aarons.
Indeed, yeah. It was.
So I felt like I had to try and bring you back on a little bit there.
Yeah.
Era, you've given me a point. Limburg 4-2, Aquaviti 1. Thank you so much for that, my friend. I owe you one, of course. And I hope you were obviously one of the guys I was really looking forward to hanging out with this weekend along with everybody else. But I feel very confident that we're going to get together soon, my friend. Thanks for joining for this. And stay around till the end if you can, please.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, Era. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
And finally, one more of the Limburg 4 left. At least I'm not on a donut. At least I managed to get a point there. I'm going to welcome in somebody who's been participating in the lives for quite a long time. She's super friendly, and you know her very, very well. I'm going to put a face to the name and introduce you to Luna Aaron. How are you, Luna?
Hello. Very nice. Thank you. Very fine. A bit nervous, but all right.
Don't be nervous. I'm going to pour a wee drop of that Aaron 10 because my glass is empty. So I've got something to raise a glass to you to welcome you in. Good to have you here. Nice to have you in the vPub.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Don't be nervous, Luna. Are you feeling sad about the fact that we couldn't hang out again like Frankfurt last year?
A bit sad, but it's actually quite nice to be able to see each other on YouTube. So that's a bit of a consolation, but only a tiny bit.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Are you ready to play What's My Dram?
Yes, absolutely ready.
Are you asking or are you answering, Luna?
As I think 2 people were answering and only one person was asking, or was it the other way around? So I'm doing whatever is missing to make it 2-2.
That means that you have to have a bottle on hand, yes?
I have, yeah. I have
got a Core Range malt on hand.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start my timer now.
All right.
Okay, Luna. Is it a Highland?
Yes.
Is it mainland?
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask something that Andreas asked earlier. Is it Isle of Mull or south of Mull?
I have to check on the map.
So if Mull is the halfway up point.
And you said south of Mull.
Is it Mull or south?
No.
Oh, it's north of that. Okay. Is it an Orkney?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Is it Skye?
Yes.
Does it have an age statement?
No.
Does it have anything on the label relating to weather in terms of its name?
Need to check.
The name of this expression, it's nothing to do with,
No, nothing to do with weather.
Okay. So, I mean, I have to hope we're looking at a non-age statement Talisker.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got 3 goes. Is it Talisker Skye?
Nope.
Oh no. So all the ABV on Talisker is 45.8. It's all the same, or unless it's okay. Is this cast strength?
I think it's cask strength. I'm not sure, but it's higher than the usual ABV.
Is it Talisker 57 North?
Yes, you've got it. Congratulations. Great. Well done.
44 seconds. I really I took my time.
Well done. Perfect.
Is the relief in my face obvious?
Absolutely. And I'm so happy for you.
What's really interesting is that that's been the theme. I think it's been 4 people that's participated each time, and it's ended up 2 each. So it's quite balanced so far.
Absolutely.
Tabitha Adams is saying boo.
Cheers to you, Roy.
Thank you, Luna. Thank you so much. Are you going to hang around and stay till the end?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Will
Thank
do.
you so much.
Will do.
See you soon. Thanks.
See you.
I think Luna was kind to me there. Superb. Well, it's okay. I'm very relieved. I'm very relieved. So I hope that was a wee bit of fun for everyone. It means that the people, the folk in the lounge here, all the barflies, everybody can participate, because if they're answering along, if they are the first to answer, it doesn't matter if it's before or after we get it here on the stream, they've got an opportunity of getting themselves an Aqua Vitae coin, or a dram, if you're in a place that I can legally get a dram to you, of course. I think what I've worked out that what might be a fun thing to do is actually get a custom coin made, maybe one of these, a glass cover, a glass topper, and an acrylic glass topper, and they only go out to the people who participate in this game. And I think the reason that that's good is that it just takes away any kind of trepidation, anything from people who lose, for example, Luna there and Era. If they can legally get a sample to somebody, it's down to them. That's their forfeit, that they ship the sample. But I think it might be nice for me to just take control, because this can go in an easy envelope. It can go out as a large letter post. It's easy to ship out fast. And it would still be an exclusive thing. The only way you could get your hands on this specific glass topper would be in this game. And I think that that's probably a bit more responsible way to do it. What do you think? Simon Ray said, maintaining your good strike rate. Well, it's only 50%, but I suppose if it's the quiz at the end, 50% is a pass mark. So yes, I'll take that, Simon. Thank you very much. Question mark, Glencairn graphic Aqua Vitae on the WMD. What's my dram? Of course, weapons of mass destruction. WMD topper. Nice one. Good idea, Gregor. Lee J. Brown is saying, what's my dram coin? Sounds great. Do I nominate someone? That's Fraser Bell. Anybody can nominate anybody you want. I mean, what I'd like to do with this is I'd like to get in little groups of people. The thing that this community is doing very, very well, Simon Ray, Fraser Bell being perfect examples of that. You'll notice that their icons are the same, only distinguishable by colour, because they've been able to connect and meet each other and discover that they live not too far from each other. And now from that, a whisky club is born, the Nottingham Whisky Association, the London Whisky Club as well. I'm going to invite people in little groups and things as well to participate. But then as time goes on, if this is still well received and we're having fun doing it, it's a wee bit stressful, if I'm honest. That I'll bring in kind of random groups of people as well, and give people who perhaps don't have people close by, if they're kind of in an environment where they're a wee bit more isolated, or they live a long way away from other people, then we can just get groups of 4 in to participate in this, and it just adds a wee bit of energy into the proceedings. I think a wee bit of a wee bit of stress as well. I always come to the vPub after my dinner, so I've got a full tummy and I'm drinking whiskey, and it can always repeat a wee bit. Dancing Midge is saying, good show, sir. Thank you very much, Glenn. Alistair Gray is saying, Cresimere. Again, he's doing very well. Cresimere's going through a bit of a purple patch right now. Great stuff. It's easy to go through on the chat replay as well and work out who's getting prizes. So don't worry about that. But my eagle-eyed moderators, especially Steve A, Alistair Gray, I see that Whiskey Jason's in as well. They're pretty good at picking the winners out. Look at all the guesswork that's been going on. I can see clearly that so many of you got to Talisker way ahead of me. Excellent stuff. Peter Hunt is saying that was fun, working really well as a format. Fantastic, Peter. Thank you. Bill is saying, Bill Balistreri. I will get there in the end, Bill. This is such an awesome segment. Thank you, Bill. Precarious Davis saying, and we can put a face to a tag. Admittedly, I have a memory like a sieve. I know it is a benefit. And because you guys are playing as well, there's the opportunity then for you guys to connect up as well if you've got to do some kind of sample exchange or something. I don't know. It's nice to get the interaction in the lounge as well. Luna Aaron is saying great feeling, good food and whiskey. Fraser Bell is saying, sorry, Aquavite meant, do I need to nominate someone to receive the prize from tonight? No, it's whoever whoever answers first is the people. So there'll be 4 prizes sent out tonight. A prize for everybody that participates. That's all it'll be. I guess that going forward, in order to win a coin, the challenger who comes on would have to beat me. That would be how a coin gets sent out. But I'm never going to ask anybody to send out a dram to anybody that they can't verify. If they can't take full responsibility to do something legally, I'll take care of it. I'll shoulder it, and I'll send a coin out to whoever the winner is. I'm not going to ask anybody to do something that's not fair. Multi-Mission is saying, you, Roy, are a gentleman. I wonder what that's for, Menno, but thank you very much anyway. Chris B is saying the glass topper is a great idea, and Jean de la Cuisine says it sounds like a good plan. Whiskey of mass destruction, absolutely. It reminds me of a Bruichladdich, right? Or a series from Bruichladdich. Richard Hall is saying coin is a great idea, especially if it's retrospective. No problem at all, Richard. I think that's a good idea. There's how many rounds has there been? A dozen so far. So yeah, that could be done easily. Great coin idea, Roy. A question mark inside a Glencairn as the logo would look cool. Yeah, we can brand it. We can get the countdown that comes on screen branded as well and kind of link it all up. Wonderful stuff. So I'm just going to spend the rest of the stream up until I'm going to try and keep it well under 2 hours tonight. Anybody that knows, anybody that's aware of just how much content that's going out there online just now. I was up late on Friday night because I watched the Whiskey Tribe live stream. 2,000 participants in that live stream. Quite amazing. I watched Rex get his skullet. I watched him get his head shaved. I just had to stay up because I just didn't believe that he would go through it. Although I should have believed it because I've been there. And I saw him getting his head shaved previously at an event in Texas as a forfeit as well. Fascinating to see. Honest to God, I was shaking my head. I ended up sending a super chat across for the poor girl Brandy who had to shave his head. But my point is that there's lots and lots of content going out, and it seems like every single night we could easily find ourselves a little tasting session on Facebook, a live stream on YouTube. Something is going out all the time. And it's become really quite acute. I mean, before the lockdown happened, there was already a huge amount of content for whiskey coming out on YouTube. There was a time where I used to track the Whiskey Tube channels. I used to monitor them all, how the community was growing and things, because at that time there was only 40, 50, 60 channels. But when it got over 100 channels, I just stopped. I wasn't really motivated to do it anymore. It was clear that it was growing, that the YouTube community was continuing to grow, and the channels to cater to that community was growing as well. Well, now it's way over 200 channels. Really, it's really, really difficult to even keep up. And it's almost every week I hear 1 or 2 more YouTube channels. So before the lockdown happened, it was quite acute. So the theme coming up on Thursday of this week is going to be to talk about that concept. And it's going to be asking for input from the community as to what you guys actually want to see. Because for me, it's always, my channel has always revolved around a kind of little mantra that I have in my own head about the 3 C's. And that's content, trying to keep good original ideas and good quality content, or let's say to the best of my ability at least. And collaboration is another C. There's no point in just me continually just going out there on my own and doing my own thing. I always want to bring layers of value, and that means to reach out to people that have different perspectives, different attitudes, ideas, different things to offer, and people that know more than I do, people that can bring knowledge in. So collaboration is hugely important for me as well, and I'll always try as much as I can to collaborate with my peer creators, as well as collaborate with people in the industry, people in the community, anybody that's got a value to offer the wider community. Which brings me on to the 3rd C. Is it something that's putting the community front and center? Is it something that I would want to watch back before I was a creator? The content that I was enjoying watching, the stuff that I got a kick out of. If it's something like that, if the content is something like that, then I can push ahead with it. So all of the themes, all of the topics that I cover and vPubs that I do videos for, they've all kind of been through that little process. To me, there's a value in it. But I want to talk on Thursday night this week, and I've invited Daniel Whittington to join me, actually, because anytime I've spoke to him about this content, I find his insight fascinating. I find the way he views things really quite intriguing. And I've asked him if he would come along and join and hang out with me to talk about that concept in the context of the amount of noise that's out there on social media right now, generally in the whole world, but specifically I'm speaking about within the whiskey bubble. How we can help create content that's valuable for people and that brings good quality content together at the same time so that people can get together and enjoy it, and they don't need to be on YouTube watching whiskey content every night, and they don't need to feel the stress of having to try and keep up and catch up. None of the content I put out on vPubs you should need to worry about ever going back and catching up and things unless you enjoy it. This is mostly focused on being a kind of live interactive thing. The fact that there are topics in a lot of the vPubs that people can go back and use as an asset later is just an added bonus. But I want to talk about that. And I want to kind of consider industry in it as well, because right now, all the industries, all the brands are coming out there and they're trying to do their own thing. And brand ambassadors are trying to bring content in. And if they're doing it individually, I think what they could end up doing is just creating an environment that they speak to their own fans who are already invested. But if through the power of collaboration, if they're able to get together with other brands and talk about other concepts, educational ideas, give real insight and real value rather than a expression parade or a brand parade, I think that is where the value is. It'll be interesting to see what Daniel thinks about that as well. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with Daniel and all of you fantastic folk on Thursday night this week. Mark Slinger is saying, Roy, did you see the Tomatin live sherry stream? So I went out on a vPub on Thursday night. On Saturday night, last night, I was hanging out with the Limburg folk on a video chat that we couldn't get together in real life. So we were going to spend a couple of hours hanging out and chatting to each other. So that was last night. I'm doing a live tonight. Friday night was the only pocket of time that I had to be here with my family, with my wife. And it's becoming really difficult here. I'm having to be very careful about what nights I choose to invest in my whiskey passion, delivering or consuming, however it may work. So Mark, I haven't seen it yet, but I may try and catch up on it. Jimmy Legg is saying, don't you think that Rex would do it? He has no shame. I agree, absolutely, Jimmy. Jean de la Cuisine is saying the skullet was both scary and hilarious. It was, he does strike me as he has to be, a few feathers short of a wing. He's a little unhinged, Rex, and he didn't seem to be disturbed by it at all. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. It was quite amazing. Couldn't stop laughing to see Rex like that, said Desi. Daniel Vermaas is saying the tribe has more followers compared to yours. So that means that your live following is percentage much higher, I guess. All in perspective, you're doing great. Thank you, Daniel. I'm very happy with how things are going on the vPub. It's an amazing opportunity. I often talk about how privileged I feel. And I thank you all for your fantastic feedback. I thank you so much for the thumbs up as well. I'm being very deliberate when I'm watching videos now to make sure I turn that wee grey thumb blue before I leave. I realise that it's easy to forget. And I, as a creator, I know how important it is to see that support. But honestly, when it comes down to it, just the fact that you guys are here hanging out with me makes it so much fun as well. I just have to try and keep bringing value back to you and the topics that we discuss and the time that we spend together. And the fun things we do, like a quiz at the end and the What's My Dram, those kind of things. Sunday Evening Scotch. Michael, good to have you. And he's saying, don't forget the fourth C, though. Campbelltown. All roads lead to Campbelltown. So it's the 4 C's. Hellswood is saying lots of C words. Yes, but we don't say the main C word. We don't use that C word. We're not talking about the bigger, wider world and everything that's happening out there tonight. Helen, we avoid that. Just for this little bit of time, and I'm sorry to bring it up even then. John de la Cuisine is saying about my first quality sherry bottle after watching that stream. It was great fun and hugely informative. I don't doubt, and that sherry stream that I'm talking about was Tomatin, Angus Dundee, So it was Glencadam, Ian Forteeth from Glencadam, and Andy Bell from Arran. And I think there was another guy in, was there I can't remember, was it did he do auto reviews or something? I can't even remember who they teased that was going to join them. Somebody that's not from the typical whiskey environment, but they brought someone else in as well. So yeah, so you've got more layers of value there because you've got other perspective, other brands involved. You've actually got collaborative effort going out. I think it's fantastic. Stu Baby's saying, with you having an extensive collection, do you have to do anything to look after it? No. If it takes me effort to look after the whiskey, I need to cut down even more than I'm already trying. Yeah, I have too many all the time. I have too many on hand, too many open. But for me, it's a bigger thing. It's so much of it is to do with the channel. So much of it is to do with sharing whiskey with you that it demands that I open whiskies. It's no point in me having opinions on all of these whiskies if I'm not actively buying and interacting with them myself. Which is why if I'm going to go and buy a limited edition thing or an independent bottler or spend a lot of money on something special, I really need to justify it because it's not the type of thing I can evangelize and share very easily. The stuff that I want to evangelize and share is things that people can generally, more or less, get their hands on, such as this Arran 10. Spiritworks Tom is saying, Aquavit, cheers for the reminder, Roy. Your thumb is now blue. Thank you so much. There used to be thumb bullies in the chat that I loved dearly. You're probably still there, but probably people shout at you when you remind to leave a thumbs up. But I loved it. I loved that there were people out there that were kind of cheering and saying, look, hey, leave a thumbs up, that kind of thing. Vicky Thompson is here. Get the Scotch for Dummies on to participate. Oh, great idea. Absolutely fantastic idea, Vicky. Remind me. In fact, I'm going to grab a pen and I'm going to say, get the S for D's on. I need to be a Sunday as well. And we could celebrate their 10K subscribers as well. Great idea. I wonder if the boys would go for that. Oh, yeah, I can't talk about collaboration unless I'm willing to do it. Tim is saying, always push, like all in WhiskeyTube videos, just to support. You always push like on all the WhiskeyTube just to support the community, as the YouTube monster values likes a lot. Absolutely. It's part of the algorithm, I'm sure. Nobody knows. It's a bit of a black box. Hellswood is saying, how's your thumb holding up? I'm just strapping it up with a bit of clear tape now, I don't want it getting snagged on anything. It's just kind of there. I think it's probably going to die at some point and have to be taken care of. But thanks for asking, Helen. It's fine. It's not causing me any pain at all. Eric is back after having to grill a steak. Good for you. Don't make me hungry. Jimmy Legg is saying, Luna and Tabitha are taskmasters. Thank you, Luna and Tabitha. Thank you, Jimmy, as well. Donald Pass is saying, Keith, I would love to have Keith in. We could maybe, there's lots of things you could do with that, right? So there's Keith is on his own, and even Dave, they're putting out content from their own individual houses. They can't get together in the man cave, but they're still managing to put out content. So we could have Keith and Dave on, and then another channel who's kind of a duo. We could have Vin on from down south. We could have lots of fun with that format. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Chris is saying, once this thing is over, I'm really going to miss these vPubs twice a week. Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, it's funny, it's bizarre. I might miss it as well, Chris. I don't think I can continue to put out 2 vPubs a week, and I think I might end up kind of diluting them if I continue to do that. But while everybody's stuck at home just now, what else can I do? I'm not frontline, not essential, not really affecting anything. This is the only thing I can do. My wife is doing that. She's taking care of the frontline stuff. Whereas I am very happy to kind of do the very easy, comfortable thing and do this. Graham Horner, drummer, looks like a new name as well, saying, loving the content while enjoying a dram. Slancheroy. Not much content tonight, Graham, just me chatting, but hopefully there's lots of wonderful whiskey folk in that lounge hanging out with you. That is where the true value of the vPub is. It really is fabulous. Graham, thank you for your drama, friend. Welcome in here. Slancheva. Let's get a clean glass. let's reach in the community box for a wee sample. These are my This is my samples. It's been sent in by you guys over time. I get lots of people offer me samples all the time. What I've tried to start to do recently is if I know you because we've had an exchange, maybe you've bought merch, maybe you're a patron supporter, maybe it's somebody I've got to know over time, I've met you in real life, whatever it may be, then we're doing a sample exchange. That's okay. But what I'm doing is trying to be polite to people that I don't know quite yet. I understand that it's all very, very well intended. But the reason I'm doing that is not just to be super, super careful. It's just the amount of samples that I've got on hand. They're not just in this box. There's another box as well. And it's proven hard to get through them. So I'm going to pick out a couple here. Two completely different looking bottles. Okay, I recognize the handwriting on one straight away. There's no name on it, but I know who that's from. Okay, a nice light dram there. This is a Game of Thrones Royal Lochnagar. Now, this was sent to me before this was even available in the UK from Gregor McQuee. He sent me these. The ones that I was interested in, I opened straight away. I opened the Klein Leash and I opened the... What else would he have sent me? He would have sent me the Klein Leash and the Lagavulin. But I mean, I knew that the Royal Lochnagar was the standard Royal Lochnagar 12, which I do really, really like. It's a nice dram. I would love the standard Royal Lochnagar from Diageo to go out at higher ABV. I would love there to be higher ABV Royal Lochnagar, but there just isn't. The official bottling is a 40% release in the UK. Don't know what it is elsewhere. I'm sure it's probably 40, maybe 43. But I would love it to be a wee bit higher ABV. So pop a wee half a dram. Do the Charlie McLean shake. It should have no bubbles on it at 40%. Oh, now look at that. 40% ABV and quite foamy. Interesting. And here we've got another one that's sealed by this really strong sealing tape. This looks like a Marcus Kreitner bottle who was on tonight. I had scissors because I've been caught out by this before, unable to open them. Especially when you've got a wounded thumb. Now, Marcus has brought me a Blackadder raw cask, Benrinnes, 20 years old. Wow, that's curious. Matured in a hogshead, cask number 964, bottle 178 of 222. So Blackadder is an independent bottler. 56.9%, 20-year-old Benrinnes from a refill hogshead. Right up my street. So there you go. I've already made my mind up that I'm going to enjoy it before I've even tried it. Don't we all suffer from the same thing? Stewie Baby's saying, been enjoying that North Star Sirius, Roy. Bottle's looking pretty empty compared to the last vPub. Okay, so I had it last night, but I didn't drink that much last night. Just let me show you, because this is the one that was at the front. This one was at the back. So there we go. I have been drinking responsibly and carefully. It didn't make sense for the one that's open to be at the back. And I reached for it last night and I had a dram actually. It's it's 31 years old. A lot of oak going on, very, very sweet. There's almost, it's like, there's almost, you could put your nose in that and it could catch you off guard depending on what you're drinking it alongside. It could display a little bit like a bourbon, just at a kind of distant nosing. Like that serious 31-year-old. But it's fantastic value. There's a flash sale online for it as well, and it was going for £76. Sevi, the alchemist, bought more than one. I don't know if Sevi's in tonight. So this is a Royal Lochnagar. Sláinte everyone, and thank you for your samples. Thank you, Gregor. I do get round to it, and it's a lovely dram. Lovely dram. Lemon cake in there tonight. Never got lemon from it before. Soft, sweet, malty. Nice dram. No doubt chill filtered. No doubt colour added. All of these things. Try to not let these things get in the way of whiskey enjoyment. You can see I just poured a wee tiny drop, because it's another thing that impacts with all this whiskey content. If we're all hanging around and we're socialising online, we're probably reaching for drams, for beers, for glasses of wine, for cocktails, whatever it may be. a wee bit more than we normally would, and it's fine. Forgive yourself a little bit, relax, but be aware and make sure that you're managing it. Peter Hunt, are you serious drinking that much? Haha. Jimmy Legacy, and I just noticed the entire Kilkerran section. It deserves it. Jimmy, that section, that Kilkerran section there will be there for the course of the year. You'll be able to see the levels that I'm getting through Kilkerran at. But it's there because they were my producer of the year last year. So when I'm in at home drinking a Kilkerran, I have to come up and walk through here to get to my Kilkerran. But that'll stay there for the duration. Willie Dollier is here. Good to see you, Willie. Excellent to have you in. It's really like being down the pub, but only without the piss taking. Definitely good for the well-being. Aquavite. Absolutely. You're speaking to Sevi. I see you say at The Alchemist. That means that maybe Sevi is actually in tonight. Be great to have him in. Skogsmard is saying, I nominate Daniel Whittington for WMD. It needs to happen. I think what will happen with Daniel, speaking to him in advance, just the timing, because it's right in the middle of his work day for him to come on. And he asked me, how long do you need me for? I said, well, how about an hour? Can you give me an hour? He said, yeah, no problem. So if I have him in for an hour, it might be that I bring him in right after the What's My Dram segment, and he can join for that, and he can stay right up until probably the quiz and then get back on with his work day. I am always staggered how hardworking Rex and Daniel are. We just see the fun, the shenanigans, as they call it. We just see the comedy, the idiocy, the lightheartedness, the way that they kind of share whiskey in a very standoffish way. They're not kind of all in your face about. They do really try to work hard to inform but de-snobify and demystify whiskey. I think it's fantastic. The community that they've built is an example, not just to folk in whiskey, but folk in any sector. Honestly, it's amazing. But when you understand and you get to know them and you get to see what they're involved in over there, the distillery, the campus itself, you appreciate how hardworking those guys are. It's phenomenal, nothing short of phenomenal. Robert Primo has just bought me a dram. He's saying, Roy, have you ever tried Mortlach aged in bourbon casks only? I found a signatory 10-year-old Mortlach from bourbon casks, 46%, unchill filtered, shockingly tasty. Keep up the great work. Cheers. Robert, I don't doubt for a second that it would be. Mortlach typically behaves best in a European oak sherry cask. That's kind of how it's famous. It's become famous, that savoury, that sulphur, that heavy meatiness that they talk about in a Mortlach. But absolutely, I have Mortlach through there from bourbon cask, independent bottlers from Signatory Vintage, that kind of thing. Fabulous stuff. It's really, really good. Not all the official Mortlachs have been able to hit the spot quite as much as some of the independents. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Robert, and I'd like to say thank you for your generous virtual dram, my friend. Slant you, Robert. It's like Clynelish. Some of my favourite Clyneliches are from refill sherry butts. Clynelish is famously better behaved in a refill bourbon cask. But you've got to try them all. You've got to try it all. Multi-Mission is signing off because he's got work tomorrow and 2 toddlers to deal with. I'm home teaching tomorrow as well, Menno. I completely get it. He's saying, cheers, Aquavita and my fellow barflies. Keep safe, stay sane. Catch you all Thursday. Looking forward to having Daniel on the vPub. Menno, thank you so much. I hope that you're fresh and full of energy for tomorrow, because nothing saps energy like kids. Seriously. Good night, Menno. Dave K is saying it looks like a new name. Dave K, thank you for hosting this so frequently, Roy. It's much appreciated. Dave, I'm just very, very glad that it is appreciated, because honestly, it's like I say every Sunday night, I don't have content, I don't have anything to talk about, but I seem to get through the time. I think it comes, you bring it. Eric is saying, Daniel and Rex are the real deal, no pretenses and only mildly insane. I look forward to seeing them again in June and July. Good for you, Eric, heading down to Texas again in June and July. I hope that the travel restrictions are lifted a wee bit for you then. Zenbud is saying, you've got to try them all. Absolutely. Like quoting me, I guess. Graham Fraser is saying, so sad that my Spirit of Speyside Festival Mortlach visit was cancelled. Graham, we're all feeling it. That's kind of this bittersweet meeting the virtual meeting that we had last night, this Limburg crowd. It was going to be massive. There was people coming from all over Scotland, all over England, all over Europe, from Norway, Sweden, from all over the northern Europe, from Netherlands, the continent, people from the States. everybody's going to flock into this Limburg festival. The only thing connecting them, whisky and this community. And we were all going to get together in Limburg. It was becoming bigger and bigger. The Doc is our main host in charge of the main events planning. And he was struggling with the amount of people that was coming in to try and find places for us to be together in the evening, as well as at the festival in the day. And it's just that idea, that excitement of people getting together. And I have to say, there is nothing of a letdown when you do get together. It is utterly life reaffirming. You start to believe in the human condition again in a way that you have never done outside of whiskey. It's really, really positive. Just beautiful people coming together. The only thing that connects them is whiskey, and you judge them on that level, and everybody just has a great time. We were talking about that last night, so it was bittersweet because we're having this virtual thing. We're having a nice time seeing each other and hanging out, but all the while aware that it's happening because we couldn't get to hang out together in real life. Eric Evanson is enjoying an ECBP C919. It's going well with his steak and steamed vegetables. Good for you, Eric. Wonderful stuff. Still over 200 of yen on a quiet Sunday night. I'm glad I can bring some form of distraction from the craziness that's happening out there right now. Why don't we put the wheels on the quiz? Why don't we get the quiz underway? And if I'm fortunate, I'll actually get to bed reasonably early tonight so that I have my wits about me to take care of my 3 kids for some home teaching tomorrow. Who do we still have? I don't know. Luna has dropped out again. I don't know if she's having connection issues. But if you're ready, if you give me a thumbs up, boys, if I can bring you back in to have you participate in a quiz at the end, superb. We'll just need to pay attention and watch for Luna coming back in again. How are you all okay? Are you comfortable?
Yeah, very much so.
Now, it strikes me that I'm talking about the virtual meeting that we had last night. As I see all your faces, you were all there with us last night. It was nice, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Did you feel the same kind of bittersweetness?
Exactly. I couldn't.
There's Luna.
Couldn't say it any better. Bittersweet is the right word.
Yeah.
Yes, and you have to, Era. You've been over for a few events. You've enjoyed Frankfurt together with us. You've enjoyed Glasgow a few times. Marcus is yet to get together with us in real life. Andreas, you've been with us in Glasgow. Luna, you've been with us in Frankfurt. So most of you have some idea. I'm not making it up. I'm not over embellishing. There is nothing like getting together in real life. Am I right?
There isn't. That's my best decision last year was go to Glasgow to see everyone.
Yes,
that was absolutely amazing.
Yes, it was a pleasure for me too. And Era, I know that you have a good time because you're always smiling. And Luna, you brought so much fun and energy to that event in Frankfurt last year. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And it was so much fun meeting you guys and spending time with you there. It was the festival was great, but it was even better getting together afterwards and having sharing whiskey in a social situation in a great bar, not bar, it was restaurant.
In the restaurant, yeah.
And that was so much fun.
Yeah. And then you end up meeting people there that you didn't even imagine, you hadn't even planned on meeting, people that just kind of say, "Oh, hi Roy, I watch your videos," or whatever, and then the next thing you know, they're sitting at the table with us. And, it's just really great. But as I keep saying, it's not that it's all been cancelled. It's not gone away. We just have to be patient for a little while. We're in a holding pattern, and we're very, very fortunate to have these platforms while it's happening. Are you all happy to play along with the quiz?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
The quiz is
embarrassing myself is okay.
The quiz is contributed tonight by a barfly, Stefan Novak. He's a barfly and he's a Patreon supporter. He sent me some fantastic questions, and he sent me them without answers. So I was answering and I was responding, and I didn't Google them. I just gave it my best shot, and I sent back the answers. I didn't care how many I got right or wrong. I did okay. I had pass marks in both the sets. So I've gone through his questions that he sent me, and I've picked out the ones that I like best to share with you tonight. So this is a community-sourced quiz tonight. I like to do these from time to time. Skogsmard, Menno, Macallan Fine and Rare, quite a few of you have been donating questions, and I'm very happy to accept that. As long as the questions are in the spirit of the vPub quiz, that is that, yeah, they're tricky, they're geeky, there might be one or two asshat questions in there, might be a banana skin or two, but people that are into whiskey have a chance of knowing them. So let's bring in the quiz and get the wheels on it. I see that Whiskey Jason is in tonight and he's already shouting for quiz. Helen is saying, hopefully not too many banana skins tonight. Helen, relax, don't worry, it's an easy one tonight. And Gregor is saying 8 out of 10. He's predicting he's going to get 8 out of 10. Let's see if we get it. I'm not sure. I'll be able to tell you whether I got the questions right or wrong as we go through. But the pass mark is always 5 out of 10. You're just playing against yourself. You're keeping your own scores. It's always multiple choice, and it's just a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. Except for you guys who are here tonight. I want you to take it seriously. Okay, good stuff. Good luck, everybody. And
Good luck.
let's roll into question 1. Now, something I haven't done actually is gone through and checked this quiz, so there's inevitably going to be mistakes tonight. I was rushing today. The infamous black whiskey, Loch Dhu, was originally from which rarely bottled distillery? So nowadays, it's kind of got a second life. You can get it. It's called Bendu now. It's made at a Speyside distillery and it's black. But the reason it's black is, yes, it's a little bit to do with the casks that it's matured in, but it's a heavy dose of caramel E150. It's not a whiskey I would recommend. It was quite divisive when it was launched. People either enjoyed it or they absolutely hated it. But I want to ask, the original black whiskey, Loch Dhu, where was it actually distilled? Was it A, Speyburn, B, Manachmore, or C, Kinninvie? The original black whiskey, Loch Dhu. No Googling, please. If you don't know it for sure, give it a guess. You've got a 1 in 3 chance. I enjoyed that wee Royal Lochnagar. Very easy sipper and very similar actually to that Arran. Quite sweet and easy to drink. Oh, all over the place. Let me go down. Marcus, what would you guess?
I would say B, Manachmore.
Okay, and Andreas?
Pure guess, B.
Era?
I'm pretty sure it's B.
And Luna?
Shot in the dark, B.
All absolutely spot on. You're part of the knowledgeable whiskey crowd. It was indeed Manachmore. What's really frustrating about Manachmore being available as the black whiskey is that Manachmore is rarely available. So it's a shame. The only way you can get Manachmore now is through the Flora and Fauna series or find it through an independent bottling. Andrew Butler is absolutely right. Forgot to mention Coo Duff as well. That was another one. Another along the theme of black whiskey. Glenfiddich's 15-year-old Solera uses a special small tun to marry together the different casks. But how small is a small tun when we speak in the parlance of Glenfiddich? Is it A, 14,000 litres, B, 40,000 litres, or C, 140,000 litres? I think the Solera vat that they have at Glenfiddich, if I remember well, I've actually dipped the vat, I've actually taken a sample out of it to try it, and I think it was an old fermentation tank from Glenfiddich that they repurposed. It's a wooden fermentation vessel that they repurposed to use as their Solera vat. So they take 15-year-old aged product and they put it into this vat to marry it together to come up with this concept of so it's not a true Solera system in the sense of a sherry Solera system or whatever, but that's how Glenfiddich are doing their 15-year-old Solera. Guys, do you know this? I'll go backwards this time. Luna, would you be guessing at this? Yep.
I would be guessing B. Just
Okay,
comparing still sizes and mash tun sizes.
Okay,
possibly.
okay. Era?
I'm not sure, but I'm saying A.
A.
Can't even picture what 40,000 liters is like, but I would say A.
It's difficult. I'm looking.
I've been there at the Solera vet, so I should know. But
I've been there too, and I didn't know. I guessed at this. Andreas?
I'm just guessing B.
And Marcus?
I would guess A.
A, 14,000 litres. I can say that 2 of you are correct. B, 40,000 litres. What's interesting here, Luna, is that they would take the casks after being matured for 15 years and they would be marrying them together in this vat. So the relation between production batches and what they're marrying in this so-called small ton wouldn't really have to relate. But there you go, 40,000 litres. When you think about it, Glenfiddich 15 is generally available everywhere. It's a very, very available product. So it has to be quite large outturns, I guess. But I guessed at that. I fully guessed at that. And I guessed 40,000. And I managed to get that one right. Question 3. Aaron's construction was delayed by almost a year due to which kind of nesting birds? So originally, Aaron would have been running Spirit in 1994, but they had to delay construction because of some birds nearby. Were they A, ospreys, B, golden eagles, or C, sea eagles? In Scotland, we have a sea eagle called a white-tailed sea eagle. I've never, ever seen one. I have seen ospreys and I have seen golden eagles. But was it ospreys, was it golden eagles, or was it sea eagles?
What's an osprey?
An osprey is like a fish eagle.
Okay.
So they take fish from lakes, freshwater fish, and they're kind of white and grey, very handsome bird, a bit smaller than an eagle. That's what an osprey is. Do you know what it is now, or have you never heard of it?
And I don't want any more questions about Aaron either. Right. Don't rub it in.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, but you accepted that Aaron 10 was. I mean, it's fairly simple. Like Highland Park 12, they're fairly simple, right?
Yeah, I did. I was stupid. I know.
You're maybe trying to second guess me. Apologies, Zara.
No problem.
Luna is saying that she actually knows this one, but she's saying it in the chat. You're a good multitasker, Luna.
Yes.
Jimmy Legg is saying B because golden. Cresmere is saying, this is your question, of course, Luna Aaron. Yes. What do you say then, Luna? You know this one?
It's B, definitely.
Let's see. And of course, they've started to incorporate it into their branding now. It's the Eagles, Golden Eagles have been part of the Aaron branding from the beginning, and it remains so now on the new bottling. We might be able to see it, how they've actually got eagles and a still, and inside the kind of shape of, let's see if I can show that, shape of the island there. 2 eagles and a wee distillery.
And they are still nesting actually up on one of the hills above the distillery. And one of the guides there said when the Queen visited, those 2 golden eagles actually really flew past over the whole kind of shenanigan that was going on there. So that's why they incorporated it in their labels and in their kind of marketing bits and pieces. Yeah,
it's probably a bit of a good omen for them now.
Yeah.
It's good that the birds are still nesting there despite the construction and everything. That they're back. Yeah, but I believe it was on a cliff top, yes. Okay, question 4. The lost malt. Now I'm going to look at Jimmy Jazz in the chat for this one. This is a bit of an asshat question. I do not deny it, but if you know it, you know it. The lost malt Killyloch was named such by mistake. What should it have been called? Killyloch. I didn't know this. I guessed it and got it right. Interesting. It was not supposed to be Killyloch. Was it A, Killyloch, B, Hillyloch, or C, Lilyloch? Silence.
Killy Duff.
Silence.
Oh, I don't even know that lost malt.
So Killyloch, yes, it was a distillery inside it was a malt distillery inside Garnheath Grain Distillery, very close to here, only about half an hour, 40 minutes from here. Airdrie, long since closed down. It would have closed down in the 80s. But you might have heard of Glenflagler malt, a lost malt, Glenflagler. It was also made there, but Killyloch was made there as well. Long since gone, but it's very interesting that it was actually named after the local water source. So that might help you a little bit. And
yes. Now I know.
Listen, I told you there would be some revenge for your quiz that you put to us last night, Era McFault. Era did an Aquavite style quiz for the private meeting last night, and it was terrible. It was very.
It was a great quiz.
It was very easy.
No, I did terribly at it. It was a rubbish quiz.
It was really funny.
No, I did okay. I think I got, what did I get? 6 out of 10 or something. I got a pass mark, I think.
At least now we know that Banevis is very high.
Yeah, right. The answer was very high. And I learned some German words. Okay, I can tell you, anybody, that Killyloch was actually named after the local water source called Lilyloch. And it was due to a mistake, and the mistake stuck. They branded the casks Killyloch by mistake, and they stuck with it. Quite amazing. So you have to put that in the context of way before the single malt. They just didn't care what this malt was going to be called because it was all going into blends anyway. So they just stuck with Killyloch. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's go on to the image question. This is not provided by Stefan. It was the only thing he didn't do was send across any questions. But of course, I'm just going to ask you, what is this image? Now, it does look like it was taken quite a while ago, this image, but regardless, are we looking at A, Brora, B, Glenougie, or C, Little Mill? Brora, Glenougie, or Little Mill? I'll keep the answers away so that you can study it. Does any of you, just put your hand up if you know this. Does anyone know? No. Okay, very interesting. Okay, this is hugely divisive in the chat as well. I'm really surprised at that. Stefan Novak is here. He's saying Scottish pragmatism. They were lazy to replate the casks. Nice to have you in, Stefan. I didn't spot if you were going to be in tonight, but thanks so much for contributing all the really great questions. I can see that you guys are answering in the chat as well. You're good multitaskers. What do you want to give me a guess then, Marcus? I've already got Andreas. I know what he's answering.
I would say Brora.
You're going to say Brora. Andreas thinks it's Glenougie. Era, what would you say?
I'm guessing Brora.
Brora. Luna, Aaron?
So I'm guessing Little Mill, just to make it complete.
Little Mill?
Yeah.
I can tell you that we are looking at the legendary Brora. So if you were to, from the perspective of this photo, if you were to turn 180 degrees, you would see Clynleash there, just up the hill a wee bit perched, looking across over Brora. But that is currently under construction to be brought back to life. Well, perhaps it's and it's not. There's probably not a lot of progress happening right now, but it's quite exciting that that's going to be brought back to life again. Steve A is saying, why would that be a surprise? How many of us do you think actually know what most of the distilleries look like? I have to guess this, that 90% of the time or more. But it's just that so many people are fascinated by Brora. So many people are intrigued by the legendary status of the whiskey from that distillery that usually have happened across a YouTube video or some images or pictures in a book or whatever. And it's got a kind of the kind of almost courtyard feel to it as you walk into the buildings, and that kind of that chimney stack there. Anyway, I do apologise. Question 6. Glenfiddich famously ran its first spirit on Christmas Day in 1887, but who previously owned the stills that they used? I didn't know this. I guessed at it. Back then, did they take the stills from Balmenach, Cardew, or Glenlivet? Back to Stefan's questions. Glenfiddich built their distillery on stills from which distillery? Obviously long since gone and replaced, but an interesting fact I didn't know. Gregor is saying 2 out of 5. Oh dear, his prediction's gone already. I now give up on this quiz and console myself to ordering a double at the bar while everyone's focusing on the quiz and I can get served faster. Now that is what having a positive attitude is all about, Gregor. You've done very well in the quizzes in the past, my friend, and you've still got plenty of time to catch up. Not if I keep bringing questions like this, though, right? This is another difficult one, yeah? Yeah. Do you know, Marcus? No? Guessing?
I'm guessing Balmenach, but no idea.
Andreas?
What did I guess? I guessed C, Glenlivet.
C.
I have no idea.
Actually, I got this wrong. thinking about my guess now, I got this wrong. Era
I think it's Cardew.
and Luna.
I think it's Glenlivet.
I guessed Glenlivet and got it wrong.
Mm.
Era, congratulations. B, Cardew. If you've answered B for Cardew, give yourself a point. Absolutely. It's one of these things. If you know it, you know it. But quite fascinating that Glenlivet was founded on stills from Cardew. Long time ago. Question 7. Which distillery until the 1940s stated on their label that their product was most suitable for medicinal purposes? This is why I like getting questions in from the community, because they would go in directions that I would never normally go. Very interesting again. Was it A, Macallan, B, Strathyla, or C, Glendronach? You were all looking for Lefroy, weren't you?
That would have been a banana skin then.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it would have been a banana skin, absolutely.
Hmm.
Up until the 1940s, on the label, it stated proudly most suitable for medicinal purposes. What I want to know is, why doesn't it say that now until this day? Everything in moderation. There is a huge benefit to a wee dram, as they say. Lots of people think Strathyla, lots of B's. Some people think it's Macallan. Some people think it's C, Glendronach. Not many think it's Glendronach. What would you guess, Luna?
I think it's B, Strathyla. I'm going with crowd intelligence.
Going with the crowd, okay. Era.
I'm guessing Macallan.
Service
I don't know
Alafa.
if Strathyla was available as a single malt in the 40s. So.
Yeah. I mean, all of them would have been available on a very local scale, a very local level. Some would have been available further afield, but not heavily marketed. It is interesting. I've got a wee picture to show you. Service Alafis, what would you say? What's your guess?
I've guessed B, but just a tiny voice in the back of my head saying it might. But
okay, going with the crowd.
Yes.
Marcus?
Also going with the crowd, Strathyla.
Okay. And then in that case, it remains a banana skin. It's Glendronach. Look at this bottle. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, wow.
And what you'll see is that this, I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but this blue block here actually says most suitable for medicinal purposes. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And Desi is saying there is no direct correlation between a lower score and Roy's easy. Oh dear. Yes, fascinating stuff. Hey, this quiz is it's not I'm not taking any responsibility. This is a community quiz. Stefan, you can step up and take the heat for all of these tonight, my friend. I think they were amazing questions. I loved them. Question A, every 1,000th bottle, that's difficult to say, isn't it? 1,000th bottle they fill in the bottling line at Maker's Mark. The employees traditionally do what? What do they do? Every 1,000 bottles, do they A, slam dunk the bottle, B, recite a traditional chant, or C, perform the handmade dance? I modified the answers a wee bit from Stefan's suggestions. More to fit in the space. Do they A, slam dunk? Do they B, recite a traditional chant? Or C, do they perform what's become known as the handmade dance? Jimmy Legg is saying, all my whiskey is medicinal. And Stefan Novak is stepping up and saying, I'll take the blame. No problem. No problem. Thank you, Stefan. Okay, what do you think here, guys? I'm going to go random here. I'm going to go straight in and ask Era. How are you getting on?
I'm guessing A.
You slam dunk it, of course. So what you're thinking about is the wax thing, right?
Yes, indeed.
Anyone else? Agree or differ, everybody else?
Also A.
I also guessing A, but that's at least another guess.
And Luna?
We're really terrible tonight.
I really want to think that they dance, so maybe they dance.
It's a lovely thought, isn't it? that they perform the handmade dance.
How fast does that production line move?
Exactly. Every 1,000 bottles, what they actually do is they slam dunk the bottle in the wax. Absolutely. I've got a fantastic picture here just to show you here. That collectors and Maker's Mark enthusiasts really value these bottles and try and track them down on shelves. And you can see why. It's just great fun, isn't it?
You can never ever open that thing. It's hard enough with a normal wax top, and now you have this.
I can imagine that opening it would be this, but I don't imagine any of these would get opened.
And
These would be souvenirs, right? I'm getting lots of complaints from the chat, Stefan. Lots of people thinking the quiz is particularly tricky tonight, and I have to say I agree. Gregor is sitting on 2 out of 8s, and he's saying drinks are on me. Drinks are on Gregor tonight. Jimmy Leg is saying 5 or 6 out of 8 now. I can't recall. I know exactly where you're coming from, Jimmy. Don't worry. Second from last question. This is a bit easier. Come on, tell me this is easier. In 1920, Masataka Taketsuru, the father of Japanese whiskey, finished his so-called apprenticeship in which Campbelltown distillery? Was it A, Longrow, B, Glengyle, C, Hazelburn? Where did Masataka Taketsuru ended up? Now, he was at Bowness, he was at Longmorn, but most of his knowledge that he learned about Scotch whisky production was actually down in Campbelltown. He spent months down there. Him and his wife, Rita Cowan from Kirkintilloch, they married while he was here. They both moved down and took residence in Campbelltown. But which distillery did he do his apprenticeship as? Now, 2 of those distilleries are brands now under Springbank. They're all owned by J&A Mitchell, but Glengyle is genuinely a distillery again, whereas Longrow and Hazelburn are brands. But is it A, Longrow, B, Glengyle, or C, Hazelburn? Most of the crowd has got this right. Does that help you guys at all?
It does.
I think I've heard it somewhere before. So
Yeah, I also think I read it somewhere. I heard it somewhere. Something in the back of my head.
So what do you think, Marcus?
you guys all have voices in the back of your head.
I don't.
It's a bit worrying, you know.
Yeah. When I go to bed tonight, I'll have your voices in the back of my head. Marcus, what are you guessing?
Hazelburn, I would say.
Anybody differ from that?
Nope.
Absolutely. Taketsuru did spend a number of months learning the craft at Hazelburn. So let's jump into the chat quickly with one question to go. Let's see what the scores are doing. Cressmere is on 5 tonight. He's got his pass mark. Russell needs another one for his pass mark. Desi is on 4 as well. Oh, wow. 6 out of 9 for... Oh, the scores are low tonight. I'm going to take flack for this. I'm looking for... Graham Young is doing amazingly well. 8 out of 9. Marku Makinen is celebrating a pass already. Spiritworks Tom is on a pass. Philip Eagleton, Lindsay, Pear, Paul Gibbs, Espen Anderson. I'm looking for... There are no 9 out of 9s. Nobody's going to get to use the 10 out of 10 emoji tonight, I'm going to suggest. Raster is in. So good to see you again, Raster. It's been a wee while since I've seen that fantastic wee icon. Good to have you back. And he's saying, I got a rock, which pretty much sums up. Robert Primo is saying 1 out of 9. Thanks for sharing with us, Robert. It's been an absolute stinker for you tonight. Too Slow is saying easy. Okay, let's roll into the last question. And I've probably not made it any easier for you. This is my question to finish with. In 1869, which distillery was owned by a priest who considered it at odds with his religious beliefs? He actually tried to sell the distillery. He inherited it, and he was disgusted and ashamed.
Whose question is this from?
Sorry?
Whose question is this?
This is mine.
It's yours. Okay, thank you, Roy.
A, Macallan, B, Highland Park, and C, Dalmore. This is a famous story.
Really?
Yeah, a famous story. So he actually inherited it from his brother. He was mortified that he could inherit such a thing, a distillery that made whiskey when he was a priest. I don't know if he was a minister or a priest, but it's listed here as a priest. And back in the day, that was considered not in keeping not consistent with religious preaching.
That was before the whiskey ref, wasn't it?
1 or 2 years before the whiskey ref. Although I bet you the whiskey rev knows this story. Steve A saying, famous story, Aquaviti calls it, and his 4 very knowledgeable guests have never heard of it. Okay, the crowd, if it's a stinker of a quiz, as long as some of the questions, you have to admit some of these questions are intriguing, that these things can have happened, right?
It's educational, at least.
Yeah. Does anybody want to guess?
I'm guessing Highland Park.
Same here.
Me too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If we're wrong, we're wrong together.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Staying together. Yeah.
You pulled it out the fire. It is absolutely Highland Park. I can tell you that back in 1869, a gentleman by the name of James Borwick inherited Highland Park and attempts to sell it as he does not consider the distillation of spirits as compatible with his priesthood. So there you go.
He wasn't a Catholic priest. Someone in the chat asked that.
Polly, that looks like a new name, is saying scraped a pass at the death. Fantastic. Peter Box is saying, whew, a squeaker pass. Rostislav Traps is here saying 3 out of 10. I sucked. Don't worry about it, Rostislav. You'll get a chance to bring it back again next week. Elswood is saying, oh, wow, Helen gets 7 out of 10. Fantastic. Des, 5 out of 10 pass. Scott Allen, 5 out of 10, passed barely. Oh, my, wow. Watch, the up thumbs are going to be unrationed now. People are going to be taking, the down thumbs are going to come out. That's what's going to happen. Extra skipper Luke is on 7 out of 10. I'm looking for anybody that can beat that. That's a good score. Most difficult quiz so far. Luke, that was because you weren't here for James Hope's quiz. That one's gone down in infamy as the most difficult Aquavite vPub quiz ever, because James Hope set questions squarely at me, and they were very, very tough. But I have to say, I was being very sarcastic at the outset tonight. I knew fully well that the quiz was going to be tricky. Sid Martin, 8 out of 10, another great score. I'm trying to see any higher. I knew it was going to be tricky, but I felt the questions were really high quality questions. Daniel Vermaas is 8 out of 10, only 2 banana skins. Daniel, you always do really well. It's another great score. Alistair Gray, 7 is a great score. Paul Gibbs, 8 out of 10. You star, well done, Paul. Shiv, 8 out of 10. Superb, Shiv. Great score. Anybody on a 9 or a 10? Nothing that I can see. I need to rely on my moderators.
Honestly, 8. Sevi and Graham Fraser.
More 8s. Did Sevi get an 8? Sevi always does quite well. So how did you round it off? Are you willing to admit, or do you rather keep it to yourself? You did quite well, no?
Yeah, I have a 7. I'm proud of it because I did it without voices in my head. So
I got a 6. It was educational.
Oh, it's a pass mark, Andreas.
Luna? I got a 6 as well. Yeah.
Pass mark, excellent. Marcus?
I got a 7 with the voices.
With the voices. Well, all of you managed the pass. All of you managed the pass. Wonderful stuff. And it looks like, Peter Hunt, 10 out of 10, and I saw a pig fly past my window. So there you go. You can use the 10 out of 10 emoji in sarcasm. Fantastic. Stu Baby's saying, I got first 5, then went down Hilly Loch after that. Stu, well, fantastic. Graham Young, 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Wow. Now that's another great segue. I hope you'll help me in raising a glass to Graham. Graham is a frontline. He's in medicine, and everybody that's involved right now in fighting this thing, whether they're driving delivery trucks, whether they're in medicine, whether they're simply just keeping food on the shelves out there. Everybody that's out there involved in keeping the world turning, while the rest of us are being asked to continue to be patient. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, Graham. Thanks to everybody. Slanjava.
Slanjava.
I'm now going to pause for a second. I have to have more of this, Marcus. It was you that sent me this Benrinnes, and it's an absolute peach, isn't it?
It is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Beautiful whiskey. I'm going to try it with a wee drop of water in it now and see how it switches up as we close out. This has been a fantastically easy evening for me. I hope it's been enjoyable for you too. It's great
Definitely.
to have very wonderful, wonderful folk to hang out with. I'm not just talking about these wonderful people I would have been hanging out with in Limburg this weekend. I'm speaking about everyone that turns up and enjoys the time in the vPubs. We'll talk about how we can continue to develop that whole virtual idea, that environment, and try and continue to make it better and more meaningful going forward. I think this explosion that everybody's having, the brands coming in, the industry getting involved, lots and lots of creators getting involved, everybody upping their output because they're finding themselves perhaps at home, that hopefully all of that means that we have to up our game in terms of production, in terms of value for the community as well. But join me on Thursday night as we talk about those concepts and other things, of course. I'll try and bring back the What's My Dram thing for then as well. I think it's either going to be a group from London or a group from Northern Ireland. We'll see who's ready and have their wee team put together first. But I'm looking forward to doing that again. And of course, there'll always be a quiz at the end. Can I say thank you to you guys for indulging me tonight? I hope you've had a bit of fun. Please stay till the end. Please still stay till we kill the video so we can have a wee bit of a hangout. And thank you so much for joining tonight. Thanks to everybody, for all of you for turning up and hanging out with me and making Sunday night a wee bit more manageable than it otherwise would be. It's always escapism for me. Thank you all for your support. It's wonderful to have you here. And I look forward to having you all on Thursday evening. Thank you, guys. Sláinte.
Take care.
All right.
Sláinte.
All right.